Breaking news. Over 38 African countries' heads of states did not attend the Africa-Russia summit. We now know which African countries Washington and the EU bullied out of attending this important meeting. Now, the important question is your country on the list?
Out of the 55 countries in Africa, 38 have decided not to send their heads of state, resulting in only 17 countries being represented by their leaders at the scheduled event. The summit was meant to be a platform for Russia's diplomatic efforts to enhance its influence on the continent. However, with the significant boycott, the showcase of Russia's push to increase its presence in Africa may be impacted. In response to the boycott, Russian Foreign Ministry Special Envoy Oleg Ozerov stated that they won't make a fuss about it and that some countries might have pre-planned events that require the presence of their heads of state. However, the Kremlin accused the Western countries, especially the United States, of attempting to undermine the upcoming Russia-Africa summit by pressuring African nations not to participate. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov stated that the West was making every effort to disrupt the Russian event. Virtually all African states have been subjected to unprecedented pressure from the US, and French embassies on the ground have not been sleeping either, along with other Western missions who are also trying to do their bit to prevent this summit from taking place, Peskov told reporters. In essence, they do not accept the sovereign right of African states to independently determine their partners for cooperation and mutual interaction in various fields. The summit is being held in St. Petersburg with President Vladimir Putin in attendance. During the summit, he is expected to engage in extensive one-on-one discussions with various African leaders, addressing a wide range of topics, including trade, security, arms deals, and grain supplies. Putin will be delivering a keynote speech during the summit. In his speech, he will discuss the concept of a new world order based on the principles of multipolarity and equality among all nations. Even with the substantial number of leaders not attending the summit, Putin has intentions to conduct individual meetings with each of the African leaders who will be present. The list of expected attendees includes presidents from Egypt, Mozambique, Burundi, Zimbabwe, Uganda, Eritrea, the Central African Republic, Libya, Cameroon, Senegal, South Africa, Burkina Faso, Guinea-Bissau, Mali, and Congo. In response to the boycott, Peskov emphasized the significance of Russia's event, particularly for discussing important matters like grain supplies. He mentioned that the discussions would also focus on what Moscow perceives as responsible behavior and their efforts to support world markets. Despite the absence of heads of state, African countries have not entirely boycotted the Russia-Africa summit, as they are willing to send their prime ministers or other delegates in representation. It's possible that the presidents may have prior commitments during the summit dates. Additionally, it's also possible that African presidents could be facing pressure from Western nations not to attend the event. However, in understanding the reasons behind this trend, it is essential to also take into account the remarks of William Ruto. Recently, the Kenyan president said it was unwise for African presidents to go and sit before one president in a summit. It is not intelligent for 54 African presidents to go and sit before one president from another country for a summit. Sometimes we are mistreated. We are loaded onto buses like school kids. It is not right, he stated. He asked African presidents to opt to send representatives when invited to events or summits.
We have made the decision that it is not intelligent for 54 of us to go and sit before one gentleman from another place.
Perhaps this situation reflects the sentiment that African presidents should not be solely at the disposal of any particular president or entity, whether it be from the West, Russia, Europe, China, or any other region. Instead, they should have the autonomy to send delegates who can effectively represent their interests. Such a practice should be deemed acceptable in any meeting or summit. Why do you think that many African presidents have decided not to show up for the summit? Let us know in the comments.